So this video is to go over CMA 5 material. What does solution set mean? When you're doing an inequality, it's the shaded region. And it's all points or ordered pairs that make the inequality true. The next one says, what are the 4 inequality signs? So we have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and then greater than or equal to. Remember, these ones are your closed circles. And these are the ones that make your solid lines. These ones are your open circles, and these make your dotted lines. What type of line and shading should be used for each inequality sign? So that's what I just did in the last one. Again, opened, dotted, closed, solid. Remember, if you have the equal to line, you're going to have a solid. And then in this box, I'll do, if you have the less than or equal to, shade down or underneath. If you have the greater than or equal to, you're going to shade up. But remember, only true when in slope intercept form. You've got to be in the y equals mx plus b form so that you know which way to shade. So the forms are ax plus by equals c, that's standard. All of these are on your formula sheet. Y equals mx plus b, which is slope intercept form. And then y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is your point slope form. So number 5 says, write an equation standard form of a line that passes through the point -1, 3 and has a slope of -6, 7. So take your slope, -6 over 7. The top can't be negative. And so that makes it become a 6 over -7. Exact same thing. One's negative, one's not. Same thing. The top always becomes your A. On the bottom, you have to change the sign, which makes the 7, and then that's your B value. So now we can write our equation. 6x plus 7y equals C. And it's the C right here that feels weird. So you use the point you were given and plug it in for the x and y. So I have 6 and my 7. And then in here, my x was -1 and my c was 3. And you can absolutely type in the calculator. 6 times -1 is -6, plus 7 times 3 is 21. So this comes out to be 15 equals C. Again, you could type in the calculator. So now your final answer is 6x plus 7y equals 15. Easy way to check it. You can use your calculator. And you're going to add a graph. And in the graph, you have to physically type the word nsolve. You can't go get it from a menu. You have to type nsolve and then type 6x plus 7y equals 15. And then you can use your control T, and you can check that your point's there, and you can count your slope on the graph and make sure that it's right. Number 6 says, write an equation in point slope form. So make sure you're reading point slope form that has a slope of 8 and passes through the point. So first I'm going to write my formula. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So here's my slope, which we call m. So we know that m is going to become 8. And this y and this x we're going to leave alone. They're part of the equation, y, x. Keep my equal sign. This right here is my x1. So I'm going to write minus, and then my x1 is negative 6. And this right here is my y1. So over here I write minus 2. Put my parentheses back in, and I'm going to clean it up. Y minus 2 equals 8, and then a minus make a plus, x plus 6. Number 7 says, given the graph below, what is the equation in standard form? So again, you could graph each one of these in the calculator, a little bit time consuming. So if it was me, there's a point, a nice good point, and there's a point. So I'm going to count. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4, and my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means my slope is 4 over 6. So remember, the number on top is your A. The number on bottom you change to a negative, and that should be your B. So my equation should look like 4x minus 6y equals something. So if I look through these, that's not right. That's not right. That's good. That's good. And that's not right. And if you look right here, I'm supposed to have a minus in the middle. So the only one that it could be is that one right there. Again, just like I wrote up here, you can graph each one using nsolve and typing them in and do Control T until you find the one that works. Graph the line or the linear function 2x plus 5y equals 10. So option 1, again, calculator. Graph. You have to physically type the word nsolve, and then you can put in 2x plus 5y equals 10. Press Control T and plot your points. Because you're taking this test in Eduphoria, very important, you're going to pick linear. When you do, it's going to automatically throw some graph down like that. That is not the answer. No, not the answer. It is your job to do this step right here and then move the dots where they need to go. If you don't want to use the calculator, you also could do solving by hand. 2x plus 5y equals 10. I want to get y by himself, so I'm going to minus my 2x over. 5y equals negative 2x plus 10, and divide by 5, everything by 5. And so when you do that, you're going to get y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 2. Again, when you put this down in Eduphoria and pick linear, it's going to just throw a line down. That line is not the answer. You're going to have to move the dots. So if I'm going to move the dots, this is my y-intercept of 2, and my slope is negative 2 over 5. This is my rise over my run, which means I go down 2, so down 2, and then I have to go to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to move those dots. What Eduphoria puts down is not the answer. Then once you put the dots, you'll be good. That'll be your final answer. One other way you could do it is by finding the x and y intercepts. So if I did the intercept version, 2x plus 5y equals 10. You're still going to have to pick linear. It's still going to put dots down. They're not going to be right. It's fine. You can just find your two intercepts. X-intercept. You let y equal 0. So I get 2x plus 5 times 0 equals 10. 5 times 0 is nothing. 2x equals 10. You can divide by 2. You also can nsolve this. X equals 5. There's my x-intercept. To find the y-intercept, you let x equal 0. So 2 times 0 plus 5y equals 10. 2 times 0 is nothing, So I get 5y equals 10, and then I divide by 5. And I get y equals 2, which is the dot that I graphed. So any of those methods will work. You need to pick one, but the most important thing, again, pick linear. In Eduphoria, it's going to put a line down. That line that it puts down is not the right answer. You need to move the points. And the next one, it says slope y-intercept 0. So first thing, remember, 0 is an x-intercept. So 2x minus 4y equals 16. Since the problem asks for the x and y intercepts, we should find the x and y intercepts. So remember, x-intercept, y equals 0. So 2x minus 4 times 0 equals 16. 4 times 0 is nothing. 2x equals 16. Divided by 2, x equals 8. Which is what the graph told us. Clear as day, here's my x-intercept. So when I go down here to 0, my x-intercept, this one, 8. For my y-intercept, you're going to let x equal 0. 2 times 0 minus 4 times y equals 16. 2 times 0 is nothing. I have negative 4y equals 16. Divided by negative 4, y equals negative 4, which is exactly what's right here. So my y-intercept is negative 4. And just to note, you don't have to be doing this math if they gave you the picture. If they gave you the picture, all we had to do was read. Here's my x-intercept, here's my y-intercept. Now that I have 2 points, slope becomes very easy because slope is rise over run. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. My rise is 4. My run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my rise over my run equals 4 over 8, which when you reduce in the calculator becomes 1/2. So slope is 1/2. Make sure on your test you do all three and answer each one of those. Number 10 says graph 3x minus 6y is greater than 18. So I would suggest you can find x and y intercepts, solve for y. The only trick with solving for y is that you're going to have to remember to flip your inequality sign. So let's make sure we can do that. So 3x minus 6y is greater than 18. Draw my line. Minus the x over, because we want to get the y by himself. Negative 6y is greater than negative 3x plus 18. Divide by the negative 6 for everything. It's an inequality. So when you divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality sign over. Negative divided by negative positive. 3 over 6 in a calculator is 1/2 x. And then 18 divided by negative 6 is going to be a negative 3. So this is my y-intercept. Oops. So my y-intercept is negative 3. It's right there. My slope is up 1 over 2. So go up 1 and over 2. And you only have to do it for 2 dots. Eduphoria will then put your line down. And then we have to pick right here, solid or dotted. This causes this. In the drop down, you will pick dotted. So there's my line. Because I remembered to flip my inequality sign, this right here, y is less than. Less than means you should shade down. So my slope-intercept form is y is less than 1/2 x minus 3. The 0, the x-intercept, is, remember, 0 is an x-intercept. We can find that by counting. Remember, my slope was 1 over 2. So right here when I started my y-intercept, I went up 1 over 2. Let's do it again. Up 1 over 2. Not quite there. Up 1 over 2. Right there. There's my x-intercept. So my x-intercept is x equals 6. That's the 0 version. If you write it as an intercept, it's 6 comma 0. This problem right here, if it were me doing it, I would take this table right here. This is your x and this is your y. So x and y. Take this table and put it in Desmos. And then make it graph your line, which you're going to type in the next line as y1 tilde m x1 plus b. And if it were me, I would then go through and graph each one of these things that I'm underlining in red until you find the exact one that matches. The other thing you can do is distribute like this and find the equation that matches. So if we put this thing in Desmos, I'm going to press the plus sign in a table, and then in here I'm going to enter my information, which was a 6 and a 7 and an 11. In the y column, I put their matching values, which was 17, 19, and 27. You go on the next line and you're going to put your y, and then you're going to have to get your, 1. You have to press your ABC to get your little squiggly. M, X, 1, plus B. Now if you look right here, there's your M and your B that you're looking for. So we need to go find the equation that has an M of 2 and a B of 5, which we would find by distributing. So if I look here, again, you can graph all these in Desmos. If we look at distributing, when I distribute this one will have a 2x, that's good. This one will not have the 2x. This one will have the 2x, that's good. This one will have a 1/2 x, that's not good. And this one will have a 5/2x, that's not good. So if I erase for a quick second to the two options it could be, and I look at them, when I distribute this, I will get a 2x. And no, you guys don't love fractions, but you can type 2 times 5/2 in a calculator, and it's going to get you 5. But even if you didn't want to do that, this one gets me my 2x, but this gets me a plus 20, and this one can't be right. So this first one right here is the answer. Again, you can take each one of these things and type them into Desmos until you find the one that lines up with the red line that you can see on my Desmos screen. The next one says the graph shows a point P and line M. So the line I have is M. Which equation best represents the point slope? So let's find keywords. Point slope form of a line that passes through P but is parallel to M. So if I go to M, parallel should tell you the same slope. When you see the word parallel, your brain should think same slope. So if I go to M for a second, here's a point, and here's another point. So I go down 2 and over 1. I rise -2 and I run 1. So my M equals -2 over 1. And then I have this point right here. This point they give me, they called point P. Well, here's point P, and it's over 1, 2, 3 from the origin, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So an over 3 and up 5. So if I want to write point slope looks like y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, here is my m. So m is -2, or -2 over 1. This point is x1, y1. So x1 is 3 and y1 is 5. And then I just copy down y minus my equal sign, x minus. And there is your answer. On the next page, we're going to use all you can see, A, B, C, D are all in point slope form. And if we're talking about good test-taking strategies, you will see that all of the slopes here are the same. All of them say -4. So we don't need to even count the slope. Let's go through and check the points. So if I go through and check these points, remember it's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. If you look here, that doesn't match this. So my y1 was a -4. This one does match. So its x1 was a +2. So this says 2, -4. So let's see. Do I go over 2 and down 1, 2, 3, 4? No, I don't. This one, they both match up. So the point is, remember the x is over here, 2, +4. I don't go over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not it. This one right here, the x is backwards, so -2, +4. Let's see. Do I go over 1, 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4? There's the point that's on the line. So it's letter C. Number 14 gives you 2 points, and I want you to write the equation. So before I do anything, let's find the slope. So if I do the slope, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. My rise was -14. My run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my slope is my rise over my run, which would have been -14 over 7, which makes a -2. So let's get rid of the answer choices that don't have the right slope. And now we need to look at the points. So in this one, it says I go through 5, -2. Well, when I go over 5 and down 2, I don't think that's going to be in my line. On this one, it says I go -2 and then up 5. Let's try. -2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's that point. Letter C has to be the answer. Fifteen is a vertical line. So when you say vertical, you can think VUX. V stands for vertical. U stands for undefined slope. And they come in the form x equals. So this one's equation is x equals, and if we look right here, it would be x equals 5, and the slope is undefined. On 16, we got 4x plus 12y is less than or equal to 20. So again, you can graph by finding the x and y intercepts. You can put it in the calculator and use n solve, or you can solve for y. I'm going to go solve for y first. So I'm going to minus the 4x over 12y less than or equal to -4x plus 20. Divide everything by a 12. Y is less than or equal to, if you type -4 divided by 12 in a calculator, you get -1/3 x. And then if you type 20 divided by 12 in a calculator, you will get 5/3. So my slope-intercept form is y is less than or equal to -1/3 x plus 5/3. My 0, my x-intercept, remember this is an x-intercept, the x-intercept, you're going to let y equals 0, so I get 4x plus 12 times 0 less than or equal to 20. This goes away. 4x is less than or equal to 20. Divide by 4, divide by 4. X is less than or equal to 5. So my 0 is x equals 5. So I put a dot at 5. And then from there, I can use my slope, which was right here, to go down 1 and over to the right 3. I don't really particularly want to use the y-intercept because it's a fraction, so that's not so pretty. So once you have those two dots, Edgeophoria will draw it for you. I'm not using Edgeophoria, so I'm going to draw a couple more dots so I can get my line in there. And I'm going to leave my line, sorry for the horrible drawing, I'm going to leave my line as a solid line because I have the equal to right here on the bottom. And then remember, you have to click solution set, and then you have to tell it where you want you to shade. Right here, this says y is less than. So less means down, so you would shade everything underneath. If you don't shade, it will mark your problem wrong. Last two problems. So it says, what is solution set? And this one's already in slope-intercept form. So we're going to graph the dot for the y-intercept right here. Use your slope. Go up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. Once you put those two lines down, Edgeophoria will draw your line. Because this has the equal to line at the bottom, we're going to keep this a solid line. And if you read that, it says y is greater. Greater means up. So we're going to click solution set. You have to physically click it on your screen in Edgeophoria, and then it would shade up top when you touch up top. So you have to click this and then touch at the top. And the next one, my y-intercept is -1. My slope is -4 over 5. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I have my two dots, it will draw the line. There's no equal to line, so you need to click here and change this to a dotted. And this says y is less. So we want to shade down or underneath. So to make that happen, you would click here and then touch your finger anywhere in my red shaded region.